okay, let's say we're working with affiliates and influencers, and you get a piece of content that's absolutely crushing, like it's going viral, and you're starting to get a lot of sales on your TikTok shop, or if you're directing that traffic to your Shopify or to your Amazon, what do you do then?
I know some people that are running meta ads and they've had the same ad for a year.
You're putting dollar behind like horses in the race that are winning.
Known about TikTok shops, this was still 90% new content to me. And we've got episode 3 of Emplicit Presents TikTok from Zero to Hero. I am Adam. I'm here with Rafe. And if you've listened to episode 1 and 2, you know Rafe knows his stuff when it comes to TikTok. Rafe, what did we talk about before, and what are we going to talk about today?
I'm pumped that we've got to episode number 3. There's so many more planned ahead, but this episode 3 is crucial just to kind of bridge the gap with what we were talking about last week. And so last week we spoke about like borrowed content from affiliates and influencers. In this session, we're going to kind of bridge that gap between influencer affiliate content to paid content and what that looks like in your business as a lever to use.
Okay, take 30 seconds and kind of summarize last week's episode, just so if someone skipped that last one or is catching up with us now, what high level.
For sure. So in last week's episode, we dove into how we can leverage borrowed traffic on the platform, and borrowed traffic is influencer and affiliate traffic, and how as a business owner you can start doing that on TikTok Shop and Affiliate Center, and how to structure and how to give the creators the sandbox in which to play to create the type of content that's actually going to get you business results. So
something that really stood out is you went into the specifics of how many influencers you should be reaching out to, the metrics you're looking for to know if it's a success, and then a step further, what you should be offering them on your product to make sure it's a compelling offer. There tons of details, tons of specifics. You weren't holding anything back. Let's continue that today.
100%.
Take us through. What do we got?
So in today's session, we're going to be diving into how that content, that borrowed content, fits into paid content. And so last time we left off, we said, okay, let's say we're working with affiliates and influencers, and you get a piece of content that's absolutely crushing, like it's going viral, and you're starting to get a lot of sales on your TikTok shop, or if you're directing that traffic to your Shopify or to your Amazon, what do you do then? And we mentioned, or we kind of planted the seed of Spark ads. And so TikTok has this unique function, which is kind of similar in a way to what Instagram has with boosting content, but TikTok Spark ads is slightly different. So what Spark ads allows you to do is, provided that the creator gives you the authorization code, you're then able to boost that organic piece of content with paid traffic behind it. And so that allows you as an advertiser to advertise through your influencer's account.
That's the big piece there. And I think Facebook calls it, was a white listing or white labeling. And there was something magical about those, where instead of the ad coming from the brand, right? Because consumers are like, oh, another commercial, here we go. Is the ad coming from the influencer's page?
Yeah. So the coolest thing is, from a user's perspective, I'm on my For You page and I'm just seeing that piece of content, and I assume that it's just organic. So there's nothing else that lets you know that this is an ad, apart from the little ad button that you'll see on the bottom, where it's just pushed ahead. So think about it this way: you drop a rock in a still pool of water, and then you have a certain amount of like ripples.
Yeah.
All Spark ads does is make that rock bigger, so you have a bigger ripples and spreads out further, which is awesome.
What's that threshold to put money behind it? And then at what point, say we're a $10 million D2C brand, how many are we doing, and how much ad dollars are we putting behind these?
Good question. So let's say I have 10 pieces of content that have gone out there, and each of them within that first week, you have like half of them, let's say, ending up giving you between like 20 to 30 sales coming through just that single piece of content, which, by the way, has cost you nothing. It's just your cost of goods and then a commission on the sale. For all of those that are giving me between 20 to 30 sales, I'm going to be putting some ad dollars behind it. Nothing crazy, just $20 a day. And I'm just going to see if I can juice this organic piece of content out for like another 1 to 2 weeks. because what I'm really trying to do, I'm trying to do three things. One, obviously get sales. I'm trying to prove the model for my affiliates so that they get more commission. So they want to work with me on better terms for more products. And thirdly, I'm trying to show other affiliates that this product creates sales, which means it would create commissions for me as an affiliate. And that's why it's worth it.
Okay. I love that. Um, I love those goals. Now you said another 2 or 3 weeks. I
Mm.
know some people that are running meta ads and they've had the same ad for a year, right? Winning year.
Yeah,
Does that exist on TikTok or is it not
it's
really?
rare. It's
Okay.
super duper rare. Super duper rare. I think I can only speak from my end. I've only been
Yeah.
able to get an ad to run successfully, the same ad for like 3 months. And that I felt was really happy with that. Because creatives exhaust so quickly on this platform, which is video first, you're better suited. Like I said in the first one, you're reaching out to like 50 to 100 affiliates a day. You want to get like
Yeah.
a big stream of content coming through, and you want to see what's
So it's
working
really
at the
the
moment.
system. You need a system.
Mhm.
So like if you get to a point and it's working, if you didn't have that pipeline that's coming with new creative that then you're going to test, that then you're going to expand, you're going to run out and then just be at square one again.
That's right. It's like you got to think about it as a flywheel. Each
Yeah.
piece is needed to propel the following piece, which then feeds back, right? That's really
Okay.
the goal.
Unlock. I think it's like spend a second on that. It's like when you're testing all these areas of the flywheel, and if you can get something through, through the maze, you need to be doing that constantly. It's like
Yeah.
proving out the model. Hey, you got product market fit, and now you've got product market, and what'd you say? It was like product market,
Product content market fit. Yeah.
and it's like if you've got that, okay, now invest 100%, 50%. Like, how would you break this down to compared to your other marketing channels?
I think it really depends. That's a hard question to answer because it depends on what your product is, where your avatar is, and what your goal is for your business. So if you're a $10 million
Okay,
brand and you're thinking,
yeah,
okay, well, I'm crushing it on Shopify, and I've got like these Facebook groups, and that's like consistently feeding me sales. It's like, well, this is a reliable lever. It would be silly to abandon this and then put like 100% of focus in this.
okay,
What I usually tell brands when I'm discussing this is like, okay, what are your current marketing initiatives? And to what degree are they at reliable stage or at explore stage? And if they're at reliable stage, just set it to maintenance level so that you can, for that period of time, get your entire team's attention, like 100% of their attention
mhm.
to this initiative to get the flywheel running. And then you can make it into reliability. And that would really be the approach.
And I'm gonna keep harping on it. We're a $10 million brand in the beauty space, and um, we're spending a couple $100,000 a month on Meta, right? With a 2.5 to 1 ROAS, and I'm just I'm trying to go down the
Yeah.
road of like a
Mm-hmm.
solid brand, and with all the updates that are happening on Meta right now, 2.5 people would love 2.5. They're not seeing that; they're getting killed,
Yeah.
right? So
It's
they're
crushing right
looking for
now.
this TikTok. Um, you're spending a couple $100,000 on Meta. Do we put half of that on TikTok, or how do you look at the whole thing with cost of influencers, but then also the paid Spark ads behind it? Do you have a ratio there that you like?
Yeah, really good question. I'm gonna harken back to I think episode number 1 where we spoke about a brand that's absolutely starting from scratch, has no
Yep.
vertical video content, no UGC. So there's a budget that I recommend allocating to just having some baseline vertical video content from UGC, and we can use joint brands for that. For example, I think we mentioned that
Yep.
last time as well.
Yep.
So that's a
Love joint
baseline.
brands.
That's its own separate budget. And I would say, what, anywhere between 10 to 20 videos, and depending on what deal you have, that could be anywhere between like 300 to 1,000. I mean, it's not
Yep.
much, right? Like to
Yep.
get that many videos. From that point onwards, when you're going on TikTok Shop using the strategy that I shared in the last one, your cost is actually zero. It's cost of goods and then a commission of the sales. So you're actually not out of pocket at all. The only time you have to allocate a budget is when any of those pieces of content are actually taking off and giving you sales. And so you're putting dollars behind like horses in the race that are winning. And that's
Oh
just one
wow.
thing. You're not
Yeah.
testing as much as you're putting it behind what's already winning. And then at that point, you get to a period where it's like, okay, now I know what's working creatively, organically, as well as I can push it with Spark ads. Now you get to a point of paid ads, which is really the kind of the meat of this session,
Mhm.
where okay, now we know what works. How do I do more of this? And this is where you need to allocate budget to get more creatives and allocate budget for ad spend. So let's say I've got 10 pieces of content. They're doing pretty well, between 20, 30 units. It's going through. It's like, cool, let's put some ad dollars behind it. The exact moment I put some ad dollars behind it, which is only $20 a day, nothing crazy, I'm then hiring a UGC creator to create like 10 variations of each of these different creatives that are working with 3-second different hooks. And then I'm testing
Oh,
that on
interesting.
paid ads. And that's really where your budget's being allocated.
Okay. So let me say that back just to make sure I got it and everyone heard that. You're taking the winner. You're taking that horse that's in the lead. You're like, okay, this one's getting the most organic reach anyway. You're putting some, and it's getting some sales, and then you're slicing that up from different hooks to try to beat it even more, like
Sort of.
making mini horses from that big horse.
Well, kind of. So you're looking at that horse that's winning, and then you're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to recreate this horse, right? This is the creator's content. I don't actually own it. I can whitelist it to get the score gets, but I don't own that piece of content. So I'm not going to cut it up unless I ask permission, obviously. And you can do that. But you can do that in tandem. I don't like being beholden to anyone else. I want to have my own creatives, right? So I'll still ask the creator, hey, could we use this piece of content? Can we own it? And they may charge you for it. They may not. But I'm just going to hire a UGC creator for maybe like, $100 or $200 a day and get them to create 10 different TikToks. Doesn't really, and I'm giving them the exact thing they need to create. There's no creativity needed. It's like, just replicate this with slight variations.
Yeah.
And then now I'm putting ad dollars behind it. And that's where it really starts taking off. That's where you can really lean heavily into paid.
So talk to me, is that UGC creator, are they just an actor, or like what's the difference between like a UGC creator and like an unboxing video? Are they the same? Like, are we being lied to this whole time?
Good question. So the way I usually, this is how I define it. You have an influencer, somebody who is on a platform that has an audience. Then you have somebody who's on a product for post-relationship change on a platform where they get paid a little bit, like joint brands, right? They could have influence, but they're also a creator. But what they can create for you is bounded. So it's like, I can only do unboxing, or, you can give them some sandbox, but not specifically. When I'm talking about UGC creator, I'm like, say these exact hooks, say this exact script. It's very prescriptive. And then they perform for that. And that's great too, because if you're an influencer and you haven't fully monetized, it's a great opportunity for you to use your skill set, which is amazing, to be able to monetize it for other brands, right? And your influence isn't,
and just to reset, you're not doing this part until you've kind of proven out the other steps, right?
I think that's the most cost efficient way of doing it. I've seen brands do things in tandem, right? But it's hard to chase two chickens at once. But at the same time, if you have a team capacity, you could do it at the same time. I just think you're going to be unlearning a lot of the mistakes. So prove out the model on the borrowed side, and then replicate and really pour jet fuel on the paid side, right?
And if a brand came to us and said, hey, help me with TikTok, right? I know you have scoping questions. I know you imagine you asked all your questions. Like, what would you recommend? Would you say do it all at once, or would you say here, let's crawl, walk, run?
I think if you're starting from scratch and you don't have any UGC content, any vertical video, you've never run any ads out of vertical, the lowest hanging fruit, and the thing I'd recommend 9 out of 10 times, it would have to be really a unique circumstance where I wouldn't say this. Start with borrowed, start with affiliates, start with influencers, prove out the product, content, market, the channel fit, and then you're good to go.
And maybe this is a tease for the next one. Where are you still directing all of this traffic to TikTok shops, or have we branched out to Shopify or to Amazon yet?
It really depends on the brand. So for example, if you're an Amazon only brand and you want to test it out and you're having trouble setting up on TikTok shop, you might be pointing all of this onto Amazon. Now that's a whole nother kind of session on tracking and attribution, how we want to do that effectively. But let's say, I'm on Amazon, I've created a TikTok shop, and it's working. I'm going to keep it on that channel because I see this amazing halo effect on people who see that piece of content on Amazon. On TikTok, they prefer to purchase where they prefer to purchase. So they'll just go over to Amazon and buy anyways. Now, if I have a Shopify and it's actually crushing and it's doing really, really well, that's where I will consider, once I've proven it out, to split my.
Do you want to tease something for next episode?
Yeah, I think So for next episode, I want to double click on the paid area and dive in a little bit deeper, because there's a bunch of nuance from a practical standpoint. I spoke about at a high level how to structure it and at what point to structure it. But let's talk about like audience targeting, what the ads manager looks like, and the tools that you have at your disposal to use. So we're going to dive into like the weeds, the actual practical stuff that you can jump in and use yourself.
Badass. I know I've known about TikTok shops. This was still 90% new content to me and strategy to me. I hope it is to everyone else out there. I hope this is valuable. We're not holding anything back. Obviously, we're doing this because we want to prove that we know what we're talking about, and that if you are a brand looking for some help, Emplicit can help you out. And you get Rafe's brain along with the rest of the team on your account. So we're going to keep pushing out great content. Thank you for listening. Rafe, any last words? Otherwise, we'll see everyone next week.
Apply this stuff. Ask all the questions in the comments. That will help us make sure we give you what you need.